Okay, so today's lesson is on actually graphing lines. So we haven't done that yet this year. You may remember it from last year. But let's go ahead and start. We want to review what our formula means, y equals mx plus b. Does anybody remember what the m stands for? Slope. Hold on. M is slope. We're taking notes right here on our sheet. M is slope. It is with the x. Y'all are correct. M is slope. It is also the rate of change. So you have to know both of those words. So M is your slope and your rate of change. What does B stand for? Good. Y-intercept. It is also the starting value. The starting value. Okay, on this first problem, if you will write beside of the M, if you will write slope, all right, we're not going to do that every time, but I want you to do it on the first one. Write slope next to the M. And for B, we're going to put y-intercept, and we're going to put an SV for starting value. Okay, now I'm ready to graph. It makes sense to start with the starting value. This is the one we're starting with because it's the starting value. This is the number you start with, and it goes on the y. This is the y-axis going up and down. So you're going to put it on the y. So you're going to go to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it might be hard to see the graphs on your paper. Just do your best. So you're going to put a point at 4 on the y. That's what I need you to do right now. Put a point at 4 on the y. Do your best. Next, we're going to do the slope. You always want to make slope a fraction. So underneath -2, put a 1. Underneath -2, we're going to put a 1. Okay, so you're going to start here because this is your starting value. You're going to start right here. Since it's negative, you're going to go down. You're going to go down. And we always go over in this direction. We always go over in that direction. So we're going to go down 2 and over 1. So down 2 and over 1. And then we're going to draw our line. We're going to draw our line. So that's how you graph that line. It is. It's going down. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, you need to raise your hand if you have a question. Number 2, M is my slope, B is my y-intercept or my starting value. Okay, those words mean the same thing. It makes sense to start with the starting value. That's why it's called that, because that's what you start with. So this time it's -3. You always put it on the y. So this is the y-axis. You're going to go down 3 and put a point. So everybody do that now, please. You're going to go down 3 and put a point. That's your starting point. Put your starting point on there. Now we're going to do the slope. Since it's positive, we're going to go up. So we're going to go up 1 and over 3. You always go over that way. You always go over that way. And then you connect them. All right, the next one, my starting value is 2. My starting value is 2. So I go up 2. You always put it on the y. You always put your starting value on the y. So you go up 2 and put a point. This time my slope is 0, that's one of those special cases. We learned this last week. 0 slope goes straight across. Think about a Z going straight across. 0 slope goes straight across. Just like a Z, when you make a Z, you go straight across. So that's how you would graph 0 slope, a flat line. Raise your hand if you have a question. All right, number 4. We're going to have to write what our M and our B is before we graph it. Chuck, which one is our M? -2/5. -2/5 is our M because it's with the X. Slope is always with the X. Let me see y'all's paper. Okay. Okay, guys, what I want you to do, please. Sorry, Haley. What I want you to do, please, is watch this one. You don't need to write anything down. Just look up here for a minute. So M is -2/5 and B is 3. Okay, this is not on your paper. Sorry about that. Again, B is my starting value. So I put a point on 3. And then it's negative, which means I go in what direction? Down. You go down 2, and you always go over this way. So down 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is how I would graph that one. Okay? All right, so this is your number 4. All right, that's your number 4. 3x plus 2y equals 4. Alrighty, right. Anytime you see something in this format, you need to draw your line and circle y before you do anything else. You need to draw your line and circle y. Draw your line and circle y. Ethan G, do you remember what moves over to the other side? Very good. So I cross it out and I put -3x. Y'all were all really good at this last week. You move the 3x over and make it -3x. Monica, then what am I going to do with the 2? This is multiply. What's the opposite of multiply? So I divide everything by 2. So I get y equals, Tamara, what's 4 divided by 2? Thank you. And this stays a fraction. You can type it in your calculator and do math, enter, enter, if you want to double check. But that's going to stay a fraction. All right, now let's put what M equals and what B equals. Yes, sir? Oh, you don't want to do that. It'll make your life harder. Just leave it, okay? All right. Joey, which one of those is my M? The 2 or the -3/2? -3/2. M is always with the X. Dylan, what is my B? Nope, it's 2. -3/2 is my M. All right, now we're ready to graph. Ethan H., which one of these is my starting value? All right, so my starting value is 2, so I go up 2 and put a point. I go up 2 and put a point. Chad, how am I going to do a slope of -3/2? Down 3 and over 2. Very good. And I connect my points. All right, this is your number 5. Okay. Jacob S., what I want you to do first? Very good. Draw your line and circle Y. Daniel, what's moving to the other side? Jacob King, how do I get rid of the -3? Very good. Put it under both of them. You divide it. Put it under both of them. All right, Haley, what am I going to get for my Y equals? And then a negative over a negative turns into a what? Positive. Okay, so now we need to put what M is and what B is. Allison, what's your M going to be? Gracie, what's your B going to be? All right, Andrew, which one of those is my starting value? The M or the B? Which one's starting value? B. So that's my starting value. This time I go down 4 because it's negative. And you always put a point for your starting value. Always make that a point. -4. Jacob S., how do I do a slope of 4 over 3? Very good. Go up 4 and over 3. All right, Joey, what am I going to do first on this one? X plus 2y equals 8. Good. Draw your line and circle Y. Ethan G., what moves over to the other side? I make it -1x. Very good. Make sure you put a 1 in front of your x. You make it -1x. Zaria, what do you do with that 2? Put it underneath them all. Chuck, what do you get for your Y equals? And then 1 can't divide by 2, so you leave it as a fraction. You leave it as a fraction. No. Go out, Mom. You can stay there for a couple minutes. Monica, what goes for my M? M is always with the X. -1 over 2. M is -1 over 2. Okay? Gracie, what's my B for? So it doesn't matter what order this is in. M is always the one with the X. It doesn't matter what order it's in. Okay? Tamara, which one's my starting value? 4. So I put a point right here. Put a point at 4. Always put it on the Y. And then, Daniel, how do I do -1/2? Good. Down 1 and over 2. All right, number 8. Allison, what do I do first? Yes. Before that, draw your line and circle Y. Okay, good. Chad, what do I do next? Yep, you minus 4x from that side. Okay. All right, Ethan H., be really careful. What's with Y? No. Jacob Sean? A negative 1. Good. A negative 1 is with the y. Okay? Right here. That's okay. That's fine. Write it on your paper. Negative 1 in front of the y. So you have to divide by negative 1. You've got to divide by negative 1. Whatever number is right there gets written underneath. You don't change it. You write it exactly like that. 0 divided by negative 1 is 0. Negative 4 divided by negative 1? Positive 4. Okay. Positive 4. All right, Joey, which one's your M? Good. M is 4, so that means B must be 0. All right. Monica, which one's my starting value? B is the starting value. So I'm going to put a point at 0. That's right in the middle. Remember that your slope always needs to be a fraction. What can I put underneath it? A 1. People always mess this one up. So you need to go up 4, but you also need to go over 1. You need to go up 4 and over 1. Always put a 1 underneath it if it's not a fraction. Yes, Chad? Uh-huh. This one, get this part? Okay, so your slope is rise over run. You remember us talking about that last week? So slope always needs to be like a number over another number. And a lot of times it is. So like here, it was a fraction. Here, it was a fraction. But here, it was just 4. So you need to draw a line underneath it. And in math, you can always put a 1 under it because what's 4 divided by 1? 4. So you're not really changing it. You're just putting it in slope format. So then you go up 4 and over 1. Okay? All right. Number 9. Number 9. Joey, what do I do first? Good. Draw your line and circle Y. Guys, this one's a little different, but it's actually a little easier. There's only one thing to move. There's only one thing to move. What number is that? The 3. These are being multiplied, so how do I get rid of the 3? You divide it. So y equals -2. Okay. If you will please pay attention for the next couple minutes so you'll get this. This one is missing a letter that's normally up on the board. What letter is this one missing? Yes, okay. This one's missing the X. It's missing the X. All it is y equals a number. You're going to put -2 on the y like we normally do. So I'm going to go down 2, put -2 on the y. And you're going to draw a straight line, and it needs to be, okay, so let's see how I can explain this. You wouldn't want to draw it straight up and down. See how there's already a black line right here? So you wouldn't want to draw it on top of that. So your line needs to go this way. It needs to go through this point, but you don't want to draw a line where there already is an axis. Okay, so your line goes straight across. That's it. Does anybody know what kind of slope this line has? 0. 0 slope. Okay? All right, now let's do the next one. X plus 5 equals 0. This one is missing what letter that we always circle? Y. So you're going to have to do it a little differently. You're going to have to do it a little differently. You're going to draw your line, and this is the only time you're going to circle X. It's the only time you're going to circle X because there's no other letter to circle. So you're going to circle X. How do I move plus 5 to the other side? -5. What is 0 minus 5? Negative 5. Okay. Once again, this is the only problem that you're going to do this on. You're going to put negative 5 on the x. You're going to put negative 5 on the x. Because does there have a y? Is there a y anywhere on that board? No. So you're going to have to do it different. So here's the x. I'm going to put negative 5 on here. If it's negative 5, that means you go to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the only time you're going to do that. Now, I've got two choices. My line either needs to go straight up and down or side to side. Tamara, eyes up here. Straight up and down or side to side. If I draw it side to side, is there already a line there? So I don't want to do that. I want to draw it up and down. Straight up and down. What kind of slope does that one have? Very good. No slope. Okay. Okay. We've already done those. All right. We're going to do the ones on your paper. You have 3 different graphs. On all of these right now, go ahead and put m equals and b equals at the bottom so you know to do that. M equals and b equals on every one of them. M equals and b equals. What? Well, I guess on 2 and 3 they just need m, what the slope is going to be. Yeah, good point, Allison. We did close to it.